live. Boards. Boards games, it's what we're talking about. Boards games, I'm not gonna shout. We are starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And over here to this side of me are the people known as Kelsey and Emily.
Woo!
They made a game all about rabbits and they enjoyed it, I hope, quite a bit. And they went to Expo to show it off.
We did.
And they played the Hajnikov, which is maybe a word. I don't know what a Hajnikov is. I just made it up. But, maybe it's the thing that you played. I don't know. Board games and designing with your partner, it's what we're talking about. Board games and designing with a partner. I'm not going to shout. Hey, good morning. If you're in the UK or if you're elsewhere, it might be bedtime. I am Bez. We are blethering about board games. And today, with Emily Pardoe-Billings and Kelsey Munro,
Hello.
we are talking about designing with a partner. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who have a collaborator, like Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. But what separates them from you, aside from like decades of experience, is that Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert are not romantic partners. And so that's kind of what we wanted to delve into. Like, I've already talked with Emily Shaw about like love and business, where it's kind of okay, you're getting into publishing, which you two did like the whole thing yourselves. You made the game, you drew the rabbits, you kind of put it up on Kickstarter. You did so much, although like, there's for sure I kind of follow the same thing as does Ryan Lockhart. Let's not say, oh, you're the only ones, but like still, I mean, you've embraced this whole thing wholeheartedly and you decided to do it as a couple.
Yes.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, well, you were a major part of that as well, Bez. You inspired us after we met you for the first time.
We spent how long? How many hours playtesting your games at the Board Game Bash?
We spent like a whole day with you, didn't we?
We spent at least two or 3 hours.
And then we came away and we were like, should we have a go at that? We can do that. Should we have a start?
And do you think and hello, Sates, it's lovely to see you in chat. So do you think it was seeing a game about cats that made you think, okay, let's have a game about rabbits?
I think it was more the mechanics of Kitty Cataclysm, because it was something fun. It was something that we could see us doing. It was something simple, so it wasn't that it felt out of reach for us, because it was something that was really complicated, and we could see your hand-drawn cards, so we could see how you had gone through the process of doing that, and it made sense to us that okay, this is how business started. Is that something that we can do together?
Yeah, I think at the same time as well, we just got Unstable Unicorns, haven't we? Which our game ended up taking a bit of inspiration on, but we got stuck in like a never-ending loop and things on
Unstable Unicorns.
So we sort of had an idea of like maybe we could make
it something similar, but a bit more snappier and a bit punchier, so that people didn't get stuck in these infinite loops.
Although what it actually started based on really was just an evening of spending 3 hours coming up with as many different rabbit puns as we possibly could, and sort of at the same time like brainstorming mechanics.
Yeah.
But it was mainly the puns.
We have to say, we started with the puns and we built the game around the puns.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's totally fair. And hello, Alex. It's lovely to see you.
Morning.
This is, it's just a bit chaotic. We're still going to have the regular features we're still going to be talking about brilliant things and daily highlights and all that. Don't you worry. We'll have time for silly questions. But, this is just like the quick preview. And, let's let the conversation go where it is. And if someone wants to pick me up, who am I to say no? In all seriousness, it is lovely to see you. I think Birmingham Board Game Bash, how long's it? It's been a while since I've been there, But how long's it been since the last one? It wasn't that long before
It was
lockdown,
just
was it?
Lockdown started,
That was-
wasn't
was
it? The
that
very
one sort of
last one got
February,
cancelled, didn't
January,
it?
February.
Because we were invited along, weren't we? And then that got cancelled.
And then
When was the one before? Was it the
I
Christmas?
seem to remember it was alright. It was either just before or just after
Because it's
Christmas, I think.
bi-monthly, isn't it?
Yeah, and then there was going to be one more where we were thinking of maybe taking a super early prototype to, and it was really on the borderline of lockdown, and then it all got cancelled, and then.
So it sounds like, you know, we'll have a sneak preview, but it sounds like you enjoyed the process overall and you want to do it again.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the
I think
conversation.
the board game group makes a difference. I think the board game bash, it's such a friendly environment, and it's an opportunity to meet people like yourself, and like Rich, who's been a massive help and a massive supporter.
Yeah.
And it helps you to feel that, like, yeah, even if it's not something that's a finished product, it's still a safe space to show, like, your baby that's in process.
Yes.
And that people aren't going to be horrible to you.
Yeah.
They're going to be constructive and nice.
And get used to taking constructive criticism.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this Birmingham Board Game Bash, just to say, yeah, I like to give a wee bit of, okay, this is how I know these people. You know, sometimes I have people that I've literally never spoken to before, which is quite exciting. And, you know, next week there's going to be one of them for sure. But so you two, we met, I want to say maybe at least 3 times in the past. Twice at Birmingham Board Game Bash, once at UK Games Expo.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Yeah, because we've played your games twice, haven't we? And then at the expo. Yeah, I think that's right, 3 times.
maybe it's 4 times in that case. And anyway, so Birmingham Board Game Bash, for those who don't know, is basically a playtesting event. It's run a little bit like Protospiel or Unpub, if you know those, where specific people are invited to come along, and they try to have maybe half the people from Birmingham and half the people from further afield. It is a bit of a trek to go in, but it's really nice, kind of, if you're like, okay, I've got this game that I just need to, it's pretty much done. It's not the first wave, but I just need a bit more of an opinion. Like maybe it's a simple thing where there's still some room for massive tweaks. And so it's maybe not quite at the end, because at the end, when you're balancing, you want the same people to play it over and over. And not quite at the start, because frankly, at the start, whoever you play it with, it's fine. And it's just like, okay, is this a good game or not? But in the middle, it's like, okay, I've got something, I think this is fun, but it could still change quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so let's just show it to some people and see what they think. And that seems to be the point where having these places based on one city is really massively useful. And so I want to say Scott was one of the people who set that up.
Yeah.
And Aidan might have been one of the people as well. I don't know. Anyway, a lovely thing. And talking about one brilliant thing, which is the Birmingham Board Game Bash, let's talk about another brilliant thing. Brilliant things, brilliant things. What's a little thing which is brilliant?
This is your brilliant thing.
Rabbits!
Because, of course, our game is about rabbits.
And we have 2 house rabbits who we would love to show on the stream, but I think they will be extremely antisocial and they're likely to knock the camera over, so we won't risk it.
I mean, it's up to you. Like, I think that people would enjoy seeing rabbits. I can make the screen bigger.
If you're okay with me, going off the stream for a sec, I can see if I can.
Yep, absolutely.
I can see. Talk amongst yourselves.
He's watching us. He knows. He's
yourselves.
suspicious. He's sus.
It's sus.
No,
Oh, hello, Chris.
He's gone.
He's gone. Well, follow me round our house for a moment, and
Where's he gone?
I can show you. Hopefully,
I think he's behind the sofa.
if it will let me switch it round.
Oh man, we were meant to get some private time to see embarrassing stories about Kelsey.
There you go. He's a bunny. Oh no, they're hiding. There was a bunny.
So this is the quest for the bunnies.
This is the quest for the bunnies. There's a bunny.
Hey,
That's Wheatley. Wheatley is stressing out. Oh, they're both there.
Aww.
That's
Aw.
Wheatley and Sissel, but they're thumping us now because they really don't want to see us this morning.
That's fair.
Okay, it's okay, darling.
Oh, he's running off now. Well,
Hello, Jess. And so everyone's excited to see the bunnies.
Yeah, so Wheatley and Sissel obviously were a big influence in what we did because we are absolute rabbit crazy people. I think more so me than you. I think my influence extended to you, didn't it?
Yours was definitely where it came from. I think the first things were what, rabbits and carrots and rabbit and carrots, but yeah, I mean, they may be antisocial, but they're full of personality.
And they featured in our Kickstarter video, so it took us about 5 hours to get about 10 seconds worth of footage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they did not want to play.
No.
They are trained, they do tricks and things, but they did not want to do it for the camera.
No, they didn't.
Oh, you had house rabbits as well, Aqua. What sort of house rabbits did you have? Was it a particular breed?
Bunny chasing is very difficult.
Yes, bunny chasing is very difficult. When the rabbit does not want to socialise, they do not want to socialise. I think they're worse than cats in that respect.
Oh, they are, and they've got their own little
personality.
And don't worry, you don't need to get bunnies to come onto the show. It's not a prerequisite. Although, you know,
that would be awesome if you did. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, like if you've got a rotatable camera, you can log in on your phone and then you can go chasing the rats. Maybe we should get everyone. If you've got a pet, show off your pets.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of people don't realise that rabbits actually have quite cute personalities as well. Like Wheatley's really shy. Sissel's angry. Small angry thing.
Small angry orange bunny. Yeah.
Oh, miniature lop Aqua's got. Oh.
Or used to have, maybe.
Sorry, carry on.
How long do bunnies live?
Around about 8-10 years.
Yeah, house bunnies live longer than outdoor rabbits.
Is that because they're kind of in a nicer environment and the temperatures
a bit
just...
of that, and also because you can, because you get to know them and you get to know their personalities, you can pick up on things a lot quicker because they're in your field of vision. Like cats and dogs, if they're there, you can see, oh, hang on, they're limping or they don't seem quite themselves today. Whereas if they're outside and you're having to go out to them, if they're off, you're only going to catch that when you actually go out and see them.
Yeah.
Not to say that people that have outside bunnies are neglecting them. I want to say,
and...
yeah, tend to be less nervous, Chris.
Yeah.
Although having said that, ours are extremely.
Yeah,
nervous.
we've just got really they're really friendly if you've got food. Like they are your absolute best friend in the world if you have anything, especially dried apricot.
Yeah, they love dried apricot. They love banana.
Small amounts. If you give them too much, they go absolutely crazy.
They
and
have a
will
sugar rush.
Completely run around the house.
You do have
and
to be careful with how much you give them because fruit's very sugary.
I'm going to ask you the difficult question. You know, how do you where do they poo?
They're litter trained.
They're litter trained, yeah. That's actually probably the easiest thing. You just give them a cage, and wherever they go to the loo in the cage the first time,
you shove the litter tray under it.
You put a litter box there,
because rabbits will always wee and poo in the same place.
But what if you get them and then the first time they ever poo, it's like on a carpet?
You put the litter tray there.
And
then what we did was we tried to restrict where they could go at first when we first introduced them to the house, so that we could try to encourage them to go where we wanted them to go. And put food there as well.
Put food there, yeah.
Like hay, because they like to have a little munch as they eat.
What it doesn't, however, stop them doing is digging it all out and shoving it all over the carpet. So we have to clean that up very often. So.
Oh man, there's a bit of a sad comment from Chris that I'm going to flash up. Just a wee bit of warning. So we had outside bunnies, and someone who lived nearby had a ferret escape.
Yeah, that is very true. And sometimes rabbits can literally have heart attacks because they've been frightened to death by sounds or. When I was younger, I used to have outdoor rabbits, and like the nights I used to lie awake because we're in a heavily fox-populated area, and like you could hear the foxes scream. I mean, I don't know if you viewers have ever heard a fox not making noise, but it's like the most horrific sound in the world. It sounds like someone being mauled to death. It's a horrible noise. I like foxes, but I don't like the sound they make. And yeah, I used to lie awake thinking like they were coming in the garden, they were after the rabbits. So I don't. If I ever had rabbits again, I wouldn't put them outside. I'd have them in a house where I can see them.
It's too stressful.
Although these still stress even in the house, don't they?
Yeah,
And
They
you
like
don't
the
have
stopping
anything to apologise for, Chris.
No, don't apologise, Chris. You know, it's all part of the discussion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Chris says there's a bit of a typo. They used to thump so loud we could hear it.
Oh, yes. Oh, ours. I mean, they were doing it just.
But what does thumbing mean?
So
Oh,
when they thump, yeah. So
it's a warning signal. They're trying to communicate that like they're not happy, because in the wild, if rabbits were thumping, that it means run to your burrow because there's a predator.
Whereas ours, it means I'm angry.
It means get out my face, stop bothering me,
leave me alone, go away unless you've got food.
What does the fox say?
I'm not impression of a fox.
No, I'm not doing an impression of a fox. YouTube it.
So getting back to
that's right. Because they go.
Why are bunnies brilliant?
Because they're so cute and fluffy.
I mean, they are. Ours, if you actually get the chance to stroke ours, they feel like velvet. They're really cuddly.
Because our particular breed, they're Rex rabbits, so they feel like velvet because they've got.
I mean, is there some sort of application process, like a waiting list for people to come in? And
my previous bunnies used to like behind me.
And just above the nose.
But these ones, unfortunately, don't.
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
After
It's
two and a half
taken 2 years, but they finally don't hate us so much when we touch them.
Aww.
And
that sounds super lovely.
They haven't been handled, so they're quite skitty.
It sounds like it's everything together. It's the personality, it's the fluffiness, it's just the cuteness.
Yes, it is.
Anything else that...
And they're binky. Have you ever seen a rabbit binky?
What's a binky?
So when rabbits get really, really happy, they boing in the air.
It's like an uncontrollable, like...
joy. Expression of pure joy.
It's like those poppers you used to get as a kid.
In the cereal that you used to flick out and then they'd boing up on the spot. It's like that. And they like flip their legs and everything. It's so cute. And our rabbits, although they don't like us very much, they do binky a lot. So we know they're happy.
You can see it coming because
their ears get really twitchy, and it's like an electric shock through them, and they get like really excited, especially when there's food.
Yeah, especially food.
And then they're binky a lot when there's
food. Just have food. Yeah,
our wires have been tuned.
Ours is every time we go to watch a film, we always turn the lights out, and my theory is that because we always feed them at 10:30 at night. We think that they think it's time to be fed, so they start getting really sort of
tantrumy,
naughty and tantrumy that they haven't been fed yet. So they start to chew pretty much anything that's made of wood, which is all our doors, all our furniture, skirting boards. Yeah, they've stopped chewing wires for the most part. Although one of them did sneak upside recently and chew a network cable, which wasn't great when we were working from home. But
oh yeah, Aqua's Bunnies binky. Yeah. It's so cute.
Wow. Well, I'm happy that it sounds like you and Aqua and Chris, all have a lot to share about bunnies. But we do want to talk about other things, not just...
yes, okay.
There are other things. And I'm sorry, it sounds like Sate didn't quite see the bunny, but it was definitely there on screen. If you want to go back, it was kind of in between the armchairs. We only saw like a bit of the head. We didn't see the full bunny out in the open, but we definitely saw a bunny.
I will find some pictures later on at the end of all this.
If they come back in, we may attempt to grab them, but I don't think they trust us right at the minute because they know that we're after them.
I mean, should I search your Facebook, Emily, for some rabbit pictures?
Oh yes, I have an Instagram. If people want to follow them on Instagram, it's Wheatley and Sissel Adventures.
Could you type that into the private chat?
Yeah.
And I will paste that out.
So Wheatley _ and _
Now, says, let's get into recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights.
Woo!
This was back when we went to Disney, so it's not quite recent because this is what
We were meant to go to
5
Disney.
years ago.
This was when we got engaged.
It was. And we are known in the cosplay community for doing Wally and Eve. Was it our first proper couple cosplay together? It was, wasn't it?
I think so.
So we do like to drag out Wally and Eve, and we went to Disney for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and we took Wally and Eve, and a lot of the characters interacted with us, which was awesome.
What did we get told by some Americans?
Oh, there's Wheatley!
There he is!
There's my baby!
Yeah, that's Wheatley. That was him, last week? The week before?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Wheatley, with the brown ears, the brown nose, and then Sissel's got the white.
Yeah, Sissel's got more white, and he's a bit more orange. Wheatley was apparently an accident, because the orange Rex litter should have looked more like Sissel, and Wheatley was they're Sissel, so they should have looked more like him. And Wheatley ended up with sooty markings, so there was a genetic thing going on there somewhere.
That hat is how we met.
Yes.
I was dressed as a Mad Hatter, and your friend was dressed as Alice.
The Kelsey cosplayed as Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter. You won, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah. Didn't you win an Xbox?
I did MCM, yeah, I did. I won a couple of things for that. And then you didn't know what I looked like on our first day.
Yeah, because Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter with all that makeup, I didn't, and the big ginger wig, I didn't actually know what he looked like. So when we went on our first date, I didn't know who I was actually looking for.
Oh, there he is. That's
that's my grumpy baby.
Oh, there you go.
So there's been a lot of rabbit pictures, just even in the past week or so. So if you want to check that out, then please follow the link. Or I'm going to just flick through some of them just now. Tell us what you've done in the past week. What have been one or two of your recent highlights?
From the last week.
Well, not board game related, but we've been playing a lot of Hades.
Oh,
That's pretty much been our entire week. That new
we
Super
got
Giant game.
so addicted to Hades.
Yeah, we finished it. We managed to finish it once. That's literally been...
Well, we haven't finished
I finished a run. And you didn't think you would get very far. You got to the final boss twice.
I got to the final boss twice. I haven't beaten the final boss. I beat the second boss on my first try, which I was extremely pleased about. Because I am not good at roguelike games at all. So I was very proud of myself. I started uni again yesterday, so woo!
Oh wow! What are you studying?
So this is my final year of my masters in dementia. So just before the stream started, we were talking about jobs, and I was saying that my day-to-day job is I work for the memory service in dementia, and this is my final year. So full-time job and masters.
And uni, yeah. No, I couldn't do that.
This is going to be fun.
Last one.
Last push.
Yeah, last one.
On you go, you can do it.
I got a distinction last year, so I'm hoping I might be able to carry that on.
Started playing the guitar, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you started playing
Just
guitar.
like everyone else, I got bored in lockdown and decided to take up some hobbies, which with me...
good on you, why not?
I flick through a lot of things, I go through phases, so what did I do? In May I started creating marble runs.
Yeah.
I bought a load of Gravitrax marble run stuff and just I spent hours making those, and then that moved on to something else probably. And then I started relearning the guitar for a bit, which the rabbits apparently quite like.
Oh yeah, he's Snow White. When the guitar comes out, there's a picture on the Insta actually somewhere of Kelsey playing the guitar, and the rabbits are looking at him more adoringly, and they'll sit under his chair when he's playing.
So I've been playing acoustic. Then he's picked that up again.
And you've got an electric guitar as well.
Yeah, and then I got back into Final Fantasy 14.
And in terms of games we've been playing, board games, we introduced someone to Betrayal on the House on the Hill, didn't we?
We did. We actually...
Oh, yeah.
Before the rules changed for lockdown again, we actually had what the most people we've had in this year, which was 6 people.
Well, including us.
In us,
2
yeah.
and 4.
Yeah.
So 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 extra people, and we had a game of we had a big
Betrayal.
game of Betrayal at House on the Hill, and we actually had a game of I don't know if anyone's heard of it, called
Someone Has Died.
Yeah, Someone Has
Do you
Died.
know, Bez?
I don't know that one. Tell me,
Oh,
tell
I
us
think
about
you
it.
would like it. Can I do a quick pitch? Because this is one of my favourite games. So it's basically you're the arbiter of a will. And the idea is you're creating a character and a backstory. It's not depressing. It can be whatever you want.
It's very funny.
And it can be funny, it can be thoughtful. It's like a kind of role play type thing. And you can give objection cards if you like what that person is saying. So we've had games in the past where the person that has died has been Poseidon, and the will that's up for grabs is his collection of seashells and a singing seagull. That was really difficult to say. And I was the Princess of Sweden at one point. I was doing a very bad Swedish accent.
Sounds lovely.
You have to come up with the roles either. So you get given a role to begin with, and you get so many cards, and that becomes your story. And you have to sort of say, basically from those, is come up with your reason why you're there, why you think you deserve the will the most. And then if you get an objection card, so the person who is doing the arbitration of the will, they give it to whoever they like the story of at that time, and that's something negative on it. So it could be like, go home, you're drunk, and you can give that to any person at any point, and that has to become part of their story. So then they have to start arguing like, oh, no, it's I don't know, I'm not drunk, it's...
Or like you're on drugs or something. And like at one point I was a dermatologist, wasn't I? And I was like, yeah, I had an accident. I got addicted to my own chemicals or something. So it was part of my story. And
I think the craziest one was somebody that started
poor
off.
Joel.
Was it a caveman?
No. He started off. He was like some kind of Texan oil tycoon
Texas oil
or
baron.
something.
Yeah, he was a Texas
And
oil.
I immediately, so he got this character plan in his head. He got a voice and everything. He was getting going, ready to tell his story. And I immediately slapped this card down that says, this protection, come up with another character. And his face just fell. And by the end of it, he'd changed characters so many times. So he was somehow a reverse mermaid. So it's a fish head and human legs. And while simultaneously being 3 kids in a trench coat and another player's mom and dad at the same time.
Oh.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was a Kickstarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really fun. It's so.
I think I might have briefly heard about it, but I hadn't. This is the most I've heard about it, so yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out for it, or maybe go off and check it out's review.
And he sang all his answers because, like you, Bez, he was very good at coming up with songs on the spot.
Yes.
And he was just singing everything. Yeah. It wasn't a requirement. He just decided to do that. And I
oh, why not? If it's a social game, if it's about kind of entertaining each other, why not sing and do a bit of improv? And everyone in the comments, as always, I should have made that clear, is Someone Has Died is the name of the game.
Yes, someone has died.
Yeah.
But if you give me a sec, I'll go grab it and wait.
Yeah, please do.
I know where it is.
And so, as always, I should have made this clear. Everyone in comments is free and encouraged to tell us what are their recent highlights. Alex has had a mentorship session, which went really well. Played a new version of their prototype, but the main highlight... Oh, let me make this screen bigger. Ooh, Someone Has Died. Yeah, I think I saw this when it was going up on Kickstarter.
Round games, and they've got social media stuff on the back. You can see the Twitter is @SomeoneHasDied.
Okay. Thank you for the... Oh, there wasn't enough time to tell embarrassing stories about Emily. But yeah, congratulations on the mentorship program, Alex. I'm glad it went well. And the main highlight is that they don't have a crazy deadline to meet in the coming week.
Good. Good.
Got other people shouting about marble run style things, gravitracks.
Oh, I spent so much money. What did I buy? I think I bought like the big XXL set, and then thought that's probably not going to be enough because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on gravitracks. And then I bought another starter XL set, and then I think I also started buying some other bits. But I've also got 3D printers, and then I started 3D printing bits. and it all just became a really big thing, and it took over the entire table in the.
And the rabbits have eaten the instruction manual.
Oh yeah, the instructions are no more because they dragged them off the table overnight and ate them. But that's okay.
I mean, not that you really need instructions.
Not that I was
I mean, I kind of really like the instructions of a game. Like, I like reading the physical thing. I like to just before I play it, I would need to know how it's played. And every so often, maybe not literally every time, but maybe if it's a complicated game, then after I've played it the first time, I might, or second time, I might kind of go through the instructions again.
Yeah.
I might be like, okay, did we actually play that correctly? Or if it's a bit simpler, then maybe, you know, once you played it like 5-10 times, it's like, okay, you know what, that game, like, are we actually playing it correctly? Let's just double check. So I like to have that instructions just as a checkpoint.
Even if you know the rules, if you're introducing someone else to it, they can have that.
They can have the reference then, yeah. Like I was playing Agents of Smash.
Oh, Agents of Smash is a difficult rule book to follow.
It is. It's a simple enough game when you get used to it.
Yeah, but the rule book is not.
Oh yeah, it's
yes, the sun got ground tracks. Yeah, that would be.
Anyway, Chris made a marble run out of foam boards and hot glue.
I think that's where my session of this kind of things go. I've always liked marble runs and like Ruby Goldberg machines, and it started as a kid. And I used to make like big runs out of like drain pipe that I was in my dad's garage and stuff like that, and just watch things go. And like something would swing on a piece of string when you open the door and set off something else, and I'd spend like hours doing it.
Yeah, you like stuff
that's
like
me.
that, don't you?
Yeah, that's me. I don't know. I think it hits that logic part of my brain of like,
yes.
If this happens, then this happens, then this happens, which coincidentally is
what
I'm doing at work at the
don't
moment.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Feel free
to
get the link and you can paste it or give it to Xate to paste in comments. You can totally
Kelsey
do
also
that.
likes Marble Olympics on YouTube.
Oh,
if anyone likes Marble,
Chris is up to 70 games a month being sold in Korea. That's pretty awesome.
Nice.
And so, yeah, like, I mean, it might not be a massive income, but still 70 seems like a decent number when you're self-publishing. Because, I mean, yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? I mean, we'll get into this, like, in a moment, like, all the journey that you faced and, like, everything, and I really want to get into it. But, oh, yeah, I've not talked about any of my highlights.
Oh, yeah,
so I just talk about my previous day because I do this every day, so people heard that I exercised yesterday morning. I didn't manage to do any exercise this morning, but what I did manage to do was have a long walk yesterday. I had like about an hour walk while I was chatting with someone on the phone about religion and board games, and it was kind of making sure that we were comfortable so that maybe I could invite them on, because, you know, it is a bit of a touchy subject, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to be talking about politics or diversity or representation or religion unless it's with we already had a pre-existing relationship. It's Ian Brocklebank, for those who know them. I don't know if you know Ian Brocklebank, but anyway, lovely person. But I just want to say, hey, let's make sure that this is what we're going to talk about, and are we both comfortable with this? I don't want to, you know, anyway. But having that chat, you know, just the two of us, and then be like, yeah, and then we chatted about, you know, how we were doing, and then I got a call from someone. I'm just going to call them M because that's the first letter of their name, and I'm unimaginative that way. But I don't want to give their. Yeah, got a call from someone who had tried ringing the night before, and they were saying, hey, I was actually thinking of you. See that you've been up to a lot. I'm just, calling, seeing how you are. And then we chatted for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. And, you know, even though we can't be together, having that connection and then actually having like a quick 15-minute conversation with Xate. Oh, yeah, and I did also get a box. I was thinking of having it here to do an unboxing, which which was given to me as a gift. It's like a game that I'm quite excited to play. We'll probably play that on Monday. So maybe I'll just kind of show you how, I'll maybe show it after the fact. I don't know. I don't want to run away on because then I'll be missing my own show. let's chat about the questionably quick questions.
Quick fire round.
So,
No.
are you ready?
Right. I'll try and stop shaking this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the first question from Alex: would you rather have a meatball-sized bunny or a bunny-sized meatball?
Meatball-sized bunny.
Yeah, because it's a bunny.
Because it's still a bunny.
Okay. Would you rather have a mountain-sized bunny or a meatball-sized bunny?
Mountain bunny.
A mountain-sized bunny?
Yeah, giant rabbit.
Giant poos. They would be boulders. Clearly, we're coming at this at completely different angles. Meatball-sized bunny.
I'm questioning your dedication to rabbits.
Oh, could be trouble in paradise. Tell us, where exactly are you?
In locality. Staffordshire.
We're in Staffordshire and we are in our living room.
And that's kind of in the middle of England, quite close to Birmingham.
Yeah.
What are we, about 40 minutes from Birmingham?
Something like that, yeah.
40 minutes from Birmingham.
So we're in the same country, so for both of us, it is 10:36 a.m.
Yes.
And Will's on the same track as you.
Will's got the right idea, yeah. Coming at this pragmatically.
What time did you wake up?
8 o'clock.
8:15? Because you're always up before me.
Because I woke him up.
Yeah.
Did you have breakfast?
We did.
We did.
What did you eat?
Cereal.
Knock off Frosties,
From Aldi.
I think.
Ooh, what's it called? Is it like Frosted Flakes?
Yes.
That's it. Frosted Flakes and a cup of tea.
Yeah, gotta have your cup of tea in the morning.
Okay, the next thing, what was the last game that you played? Was it one that you already mentioned? Was it Someone Has Died?
It probably was. I feel like we've played something since, and I can't think what it is. Was it Bosk?
Oh, is Bosk the one with the trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bosk then.
Bosk.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
Have you played Bosk, Bez?
I've not. I would really like to. It looks gorgeous. And
the squirrel meeples.
Yes.
It looks really cute. I love the theme of. Yeah, we've got some love for it in the chat.
Bosk was good, yeah.
And while you were playing Bosk, do you normally, or any other game, do you normally have a snacks on the table, or are you just water or just tea kind of people?
And a soundtrack. I always have to curate a soundtrack for a board game.
Will. Squirrel meeples. Yeah, we usually put a soundtrack on. So like when we've played things like Subterra, we'll put something scary on in the background, but then we do frighten ourselves as well.
You know, Inside the Box had that like custom soundtrack for Subterra. So for those who don't know, Subterra being like the cooperative game you're trying to get out of this cave, and then they put this soundtrack of like atmospheric noises and stuff that lasts, you know, maybe an hour and a half, and the idea being that you play this whilst playing the game. And have you done that?
Yeah,
I love a soundtrack.
We frightened ourselves. Something wrong with Subterra with that soundtrack. We were terrified. And, what music goes to Bosk? What did we have on?
Like
AJ Fool's Card.
And Sons, didn't we?
Put on like that was sort of I created a playlist of acoustic like covers or just acoustic instrumentals, that kind of thing went
very
well.
Chill.
Yeah, chill and autumny vibes.
Or Princess Mononoke, because it's nature.
Yeah, that tends to come up a lot with Tekken.
Ooh.
No,
what am I thinking of?
Yeah, I like that kind of theming it to a film that's similar and playing the soundtrack from that film.
Yes.
I know Xate is saying there's a website that matches soundtracks to games. And do you know what website that is? I mean,
I would like to know.
And then I'll share it with everyone on the link, if that's okay. If you know offhand, which I think I know. I've heard about this website. I think I saw it, but I don't know what website it is.
There was one at one point where you could do. I know it's for D&D they did that, didn't we? When I tried to DM that one time. Put a soundtrack and other audio together. Well, like Agents of Smirsh, we put on spy movies.
Oh yeah, that was fun. We had like James Bond themes and funny stuff going on with Smirsh.
And then Resident Evil soundboard for the Resident Evil 2 board game was good. Yeah.
Charterstone. What did we have on when we played Charterstone? Was it Ghibli music?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, there's been lots.
What did you think of Charterstone?
I loved it. So this was our first Legacy game. We've never played one before.
Have you played any since?
Brilliant. No.
No, we haven't had a group for it. So that one worked because we could play with the two of us. I mean, I'd really like to do Betrayal Legacy.
Yeah, Betrayal, because we quite like Betrayal. But
yeah, we've never been able to get a group together.
Oh,
locally.
There's the link.
Melodice.org. I'm going to save that now.
And so, going to the link, it looks like you kind of type in a game. So let's say we were saying someone has died.
Emotional sad music.
Oh no, it doesn't need to be sad when someone has died. Not necessarily.
Chopin, New Orleans funeral.
Oh no.
Let's go to Agents of
Smirch. Maybe some kind of like quirky music.
Agents of Smirch. Let's see what it says.
Agents of Smirch. Yeah. Oh, Sly Cooper. Oh, a bit of Evil Genius.
Pink Panther theme song. That would work well.
That too.
Oh, you like the one lives forever, don't you?
Oh, and this is all like kind of. Is this a? Yeah, I think this is a YouTube playlist. That's cool.
That's very, very cool.
Thank you for that.
Oh, I wonder if there's anything for any of. Oh,
for Yogi.
There's nothing there for Yogi.
Look at Kitty Cataclysm.
That means you can create one.
Nah.
Oh
well.
Right, that's it.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. What would you put to Kitty Cataclysm?
I would put no, there's this operatic song that goes meow. Meow. Do you know this operatic songs that I'm talking about? Like I used to have a playlist of about and you'd have to love cats.
Oh yeah.
You like I had like this 45-ish minute thing just on cat themed songs, and yeah, sure, you could have the entire musical Cats. Yeah, why not?
Good. The new one or the original one?
Well, I think it's the original.
Because I'm in the minority here. Because I prefer. I'd never seen Cats before ever, and I actually quite liked the new film. And I didn't like the stage one, but I liked the film because I like swingy music, and it had been made a bit more swingy and jazzed up, which I think is why I liked it. And I know I'm in the minority there.
Well, lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in, Chris, and I hope that your daughter enjoys drama. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, Chris.
Well, you won't see Emily and Kelsey necessarily, but you know, I'll be here. But yeah, that is a good melodice.org. That is very cool. I'm making the notes of that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to use that.
Oh, and we've got yeah, I will
Marble Rice.
That link later. I'll put that up in to the YouTube and Facebook as well, just so that everyone has the opportunity to watch that. So yeah, we were meant to be asking questionably quick questions, and then we got distracted.
Easily distracted.
Yeah, we are going to be terrible together. I mean, thank goodness. Today's like not the most serious topic, so it's all good.
Anyway, that whatever. I'll just go on tangent.
So what I'm hearing is that you like to curate your experiences when you play games.
Yeah, we like to have an
Yeah.
Do you ever have themed food?
No, we've never done themed food. No. What I would like to do is themed lighting, but money.
Oh, you know Subterra works with the UV thing.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Do you have a UV light?
No. I've tried it with a UV torch and done that, but yeah, my big, if we could ever do it in the future, would be have like those Hue smart bulbs and have them on like a spotlight, so we could do some cool things with like creepy games. I quite like a good tense horror game.
I mean, it's just such a cool idea having this UV layer and then being able to play it in darkness and having just the glyphs lights up.
Didn't they have like an actual special edition which was like extra UV stuff that was like designed to be played in UV as well, or something?
No, I think it's just a basic edition.
Well.
Literally every edition of Subterra, I believe, you can play it in pitch blackness, and then you get like a UV torch.
So cool to do.
Because you spotted that, didn't you, when we first started?
Yeah, we tried it. We tried it with a box and the and some of the tiles. Yeah, but no, we've never actually played it in the dark.
Although
Give it a go. Maybe you could angle the torch from. I don't know if you've got to. You could attach it to something in your ceiling.
Get a black light.
Although knowing us, we play it in the dark, and then the rabbits would like do something frighten us.
They're trying, yeah.
Never watch a horror film with the rabbits because it'll always be a quiet bit, and they'll make a noise and frighten you,
Or jump on the side of the sofa. Yeah.
Do you remember when we were watching Haunting of Hill House and they jumped on a crisp packet? Oh god.
Yeah.
And Xate played it like that. So, moving on to the faster questions. Iced coffee or hot tea?
Hot tea.
Hot tea.
Best thing to eat or drink whilst playing games?
Biscuits.
Biscuits.
And tea.
Cards or cubes?
Ooh, cards.
Cards.
Wooden meeple or plastic figurine?
Plastic figurine, because I can paint it.
I think it depends what the meeple is.
Oh, I like painting.
Because I like the feel of the wooden ones.
I like painting.
Would you rather play choose 20 games to play forever, or be able to play all the games, but every game you ever play self-destructs after you play it once?
What if you bought loads of copies of the same game?
No, you're not allowed to do that.
20 games forever.
20 games forever. Because also it would stop us spending money.
Because also, that would mean I could learn the rules.
Okay, so other question. 5 games forever or everything else only once?
Oh, that's hard.
See, I really like painted minis, and if it was going to self-destruct after the first time, I won't be able to
play them. You'd be very upset when you...
But you could buy minis, but just not play the game.
Oh, well, in that case, that seems to be how a lot go anyway.
I mean, we've currently got a horde of zombies in the office.
Yes.
Unpainted.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Every game once, then. If it's going to be 5.
Yeah, every game once, if it's going to be 5.
So it sounds like the number for you is somewhere between 5 and 20, where it would be like, okay.
Variety, I think.
Yes.
Lies in that.
Variety, yeah.
And final question. Name 3 games you love.
Someone Has Died. 3 games each, or
3 games together. So Kelsey, you name one now.
Ooh, at the minute Resident Evil 2.
And now you've got to talk together to decide your third.
Hokkaido? We've played that a lot, haven't we?
We have.
See,
I'm glancing over for inspiration now to our shelf, but I can't really see it from here, so it's not really working.
What have we played the most together? I suppose Betrayal we've played the most.
Azul?
Azul.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a solid game. So why do you love Azul? I know there's a lovely drafting mechanism where you kind of take the things, and then the things you don't want go into the middle, and you've got to really ponder other people. Are you a main player? Do you kind of really think about what the other player wants and make sure that they don't get it?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you like all about making sure that they've got too many tiles and then they go negative?
Yes, we do like a good quiet. We call them quietly competitive games.
So they're not table flippers, but you're thinking about moves ahead, but it's nice and relaxing.
I like a good abstract puzzle. So I've never played is it Sagrada? Is that the one with the stained glass window?
Yeah, Sagrada.
Yeah, I played that, but I would really like to.
Never play, we will.
Will Cook for board games is their tag, but for the records, I don't know how much they mind at this point, but their preferred name is Xate for the record, or Will Cook for board games. It's just apparently a thing that they will do. They will cook
Oh,
in return
I
for
thought
board
the
games.
name was Will Cook.
No, they will
I'm
cook
sorry.
for board games.
Yes.
And anyway, that brings us to the end of the questionably quick questions. And as we go into the main topic now, wow, this has been the longest introduction ever. Feel free to comment, ask questions, follow. And now we are talking about designing with a partner with Emily Pardoe-Billings and Kelsey Munro. I hope I've gotten those names right, because I mean,
Yeah, you have, don't worry.
I did show you the link, so if I didn't, then I'd be like, why didn't you tell me? Come on. So let's talk about what we're talking about. So I'm apparently testing this theory soon, hopefully. It all depends on whether I'm allowed to go to Germany. And I will bring games, apparently. Yep. Xate is a Germanish lady named Xate Mac.
There we go. What board games will you cook for, though?
Well, I think I think we've agreed that I am going to take over Tapestry, which should be on its way.
Oh.
I did actually order it. I shared a message to the Stonemeyer Games to say, hey, I've actually started doing some reviews. I would be open to doing more reviews. Here's a link to my Energy Empire thing. And then I got an email saying, hey, this is some stuff. And then we get to play it a few times. And also I will, play Scythe and all of Xate's favourite games. I am willing to do that. I can't remember if Xate actually has that Terraforming Mars, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I would even play Terraforming Mars. I'd give it another go, because we only played it 4 players. So maybe 2 players, it's in German. That might be a bit too hard for me. I think that would slow down the game too much. Unless, I mean, if you ask someone to translate for you, that's kind of... You're meant to keep that stuff kind of hidden.
Yeah,
is that going to ruin the game?
Learn German.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I could use the Google Translate, because Xate will have the thing in their house, do you know what I mean? So the Wi-Fi, so you've got that thing where you can look at the images, but it still feels like it would be a bit slow. And Xate is presumably pretty good at Terraforming Mars at this point. So if I'm, having to use my phone every time I want to remind myself what something says, that's probably going to mean I definitely lose. And Xate's just going to be bored, waiting for me to... Anyway, but we can totally play Scythe and Tapestry. Hopefully that will arrive and it won't be... Yeah. Oh, apparently someone is bad at Terraforming Mars. There you go. Oh, lots of love. Anyway, so what are we talking about in theory? We are talking about... let me get the banner up. Is it always better to have a collaborator? Are disagreements different when your co-designer is your romantic partner? Are you more likely to agree with each other? Like, is this something that you would strengthen the love in a pre-existing relationship? And would you, I'm part of this discussion, but you're the people who've actually experienced this. Would we recommend this as a bonding exercise? And so that's basically what we're talking about.
I think it would depend on what sort of wavelength you're on.
Yeah, we don't...
Because we're very similar, and we've got very similar interests, haven't we?
I mean, I think probably the key part there is that we never argue.
Yeah, we don't argue.
It wasn't so much about... It was mainly coming to, compromises between 2 ideas, or, we both had an idea that would go either way, but there was a middle ground that would be the best of both. That generally turned out better.
But it's also how we were communicating those ideas with each other, wasn't it, as well? Where you were like, can I have a play with this? I'm not going to break it, but I just want to explore this bit on my own for a second, and then I'll show you when I've worked it out myself.
Yeah, and that was true in both terms of gameplay and in the design, because you did all of the art, and then I did like the card backings and box design. And that went through a lot of iteration of sort of, I had an idea in my mind, and you're you need to see it first.
Yeah, I'm very visual.
I would try to explain what I was after, and sort of just blank looks. At which point I would sort of like come up with a mock, and it'd be sort of kind of what I was going after, but it wasn't quite right. It still didn't look. It just didn't look right, and we'd sort of iterate on that, and you give me pointers, and then there'd be somewhere it's just like, oh, I don't think this will work because of X, Y, Z, and then we'd end up finding somewhere right in the middle.
So it sounds like you each have these roles that you naturally take on. One of you's more big picture orientated, one of you's more detail orientated, one of you's more visual, one of you's more conceptual.
Yeah, and also different roles, not just in the art and the technical side, but also what we did to bring it to life. So I did a lot more of the communication with things like UKGE. I did a lot more of the communication with the board game bash people and setting that up. Whereas you did a lot more of the practical stuff, didn't you? Like the Kickstarter, doing the video.
Design that.
I worked out costings. I wrote the stuff for the Kickstarter, but Kelsey brought it to life, kind of thing.
Yeah, like you organised UKGE, and then I sort of designed the stand.
Yeah, because Kelsey's also a wedding photographer, so he knows how to set up a stand to make it look attractive to people, and how to not do a sales pitch or stuff, but to make it look interesting and intriguing, and
which is why we ended up wearing...
And be personable, make people like you, so you're not frightening people away from your stand.
Which is why we ended up wearing camo paint and ears.
Because I wouldn't have done that. I'd have just gone in normal clothes, and Kelsey was like, no, let's dress up. Because it'll make us look friendly, it'll make us look fun, people will come over because they're curious why we dressed up like rabbits in camo suits.
For sure.
So that worked well, didn't it? And I think when we were at UKG, a lot of communication, like you were reviewing a lot of how it was working based on your experience working with weddings, and is this going well? Do we need to change things around? Because it was you that said, let's get the 2 games on the go.
Yeah, let's get extra games on the go. I think one of the big things as well for our campaign, I think the only thing that I really pushed for was paying for an actual voice actor for our campaign.
You did, because Kelsey was very clear that that would make or break our Kickstarter, is the video, how you
I wanted a drill sergeant, and I couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to do it at home. I'd have been able to do an approximation of the voice, but I didn't have the equipment to record it or anything. It just wouldn't have been right.
And we're not voice actors.
So we spent some money getting that together, and then.
And we also paid for the music.
Yeah, we paid someone to do the music as well.
RJ Foe, can highly recommend him. He's a lovely guy.
RJ FAUX.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a Bandcamp, I think.
Yeah.
They've got a Bandcamp, sorry.
Yeah, so if anyone ever needs any music for Kickstarter videos, grab him. But
sorry, we went off on this tangent.
So how long? No, it's interesting to hear a little bit about the story of everything. I was going to ask, like, how long had you been together? And let's get in, if you don't mind sharing a bit about your personal relationship. How did you meet, and how long had you been together?
So we met at a cosplay convention. Kelsey was Mad Hatter. I think we said this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, your friend was Alice.
And when we went on our first date, we didn't actually know who we were looking for.
Wasn't that a year before we met, though? That was
about
a year before we
knew each other. So it was really weird how we got to know each other, because I'm sure people in your stream have been to cosplay conventions, and people from all over the country come to these. So I just took this picture of Kelsey, never thought anything of it. And then when we were going back through the pictures, a friend of mine said, oh, that's my friend, Kelsey, and tagged him in my picture. And then we realised that we only lived 2 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
And we'd gone to the same sixth form, never known each other.
Nope. Just a year apart.
Yeah.
And then that was sort of that.
And then I saw you messing about with your Scar cosplay and started talking to you about that.
Yes,
and then
my Scar cosplay that never got finished.
And then went from there. And then the first question was, do you like games?
Yes,
So
it was.
that was the deciding question.
Yeah,
And you both liked board games.
Board games and
board
video games.
Board games came up. Oh, when did board games come up? What was our first board game? I think, did I buy Dead of Winter?
I think you did. I think Dead of Winter, closely followed by Betrayal, was how we got
Yeah,
into
I think
it,
that's how it
wasn't
started, really. Oh, there it is.
Our
Oh,
bunnies are in this.
Yes, they
Our
are.
babies.
this is your plan of attack. Draw your general. Oh, man.
Yeah, this is why we didn't.
So how long had you been together as a couple at this point?
What, when we started doing? Was it 2 years ago we started doing Warren Wars?
So we've been together about
So
5
6
years.
years.
6 years.
6 years. If it's been 2
6
years.
years. We've been married for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. So 6 years we've been together, married for 2. At the point where we started Warren Wars.
That's this room.
And how long did the whole process take you from concept to Kickstarter? And then how long did it take from Kickstarter to getting it to everyone?
So was it
Wasn't
March?
wasn't it about a year? We actually.
It was about a year, wasn't it? It was quite a lot of people told us we got through the process extremely quickly.
Yeah, we did.
Um,
I think we settled upon a design quite quick, and we ended up getting some cards printed that were actually they were quite a high-end prototype, really. Everyone kept on saying, because they thought it was the final version, but we'd still just like draw all over them and whatever and change the rules.
And I think going back to
Yeah,
the whole topic of designing with a partner, I think this is where it really came into play, because obviously we lived together. We didn't have to arrange to meet up, to discuss things, to show each other things, like you coming from work and I'd been, or like while you were at work, I'd been sending you pictures of
and
like
vice versa.
Boba Fett as a rabbit. Saying this is
And
great.
you already have that time that you spend with each other, and maybe it's like, okay, now instead of playing someone else's games together or spending a bit of time in front of a film.
We actually really enjoyed playing Warren Wars together, didn't we, in the early stages?
Yeah, we came up with a first initial prototype, which it didn't have any generals in it, or a lot of the abilities
I think
were
the
different.
very first prototype we got together within like 3 days.
And then we're just like, right, let's see if there's actually something here. And it was actually kind of fun. And not just because we made our own game, which I think was probably part of it, but we played quite a lot of games back to back, and the person who won did sort of change sometimes. Eventually, sort of a few games ended up being like the same person would win multiple times because the balance wasn't quite there. But yeah, and then it just became iteration on things like that. And then the big thing, which I think was that my big decision that was generally involved?
The generals.
I think it was sort of like there was something that we need, and it was
we needed an
extra
something. Mechanic. We needed an extra punch.
And then the generals sort of came out of that, and it's like, okay, well, how about we have everyone just draw, and we just need an ability that everyone can have that's always different, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I think it was your idea.
And then that's where the generals came about.
And then I think I said, let's make them world leaders, didn't I?
Yes.
Because I was like, at first I was like, well, how is this going to time with the puns and what we've done so far? So I was like, let's make Donald Trump as a rabbit.
Yeah, so we had Donald Thump, we had Theresa May, which is now obviously a bit outdated.
We had Attila the Bun, we had Cleopatra.
Yeah, there they are.
We've got Hutch Cassidy, so...
That was a good one. I think Hutch Cassidy was your best.
I like Hutch Cassidy. I usually end up drawing him. I don't know why. He seems to like me. He comes up a lot in my draws.
Yeah,
and I like his move because you can just steal everyone's cards.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got some. I think what you're talking about is about making sure that you're playing to each other's strengths, and if you're like these photographs, presumably that's all from Kelsey because you already have those skills of taking amazing shots.
Manage the Instagram as well.
I feel like I should know where this is because this is clearly a convention.
That's UKGE.
UKGE on the testing tables. Where they did the play. Was it playtest in UK?
Yes.
And that there is that's
Board Game Bash. Isn't it?
Meeple Mayo. That's a board game bash, yeah.
That's a board game.
That's our biggest fan right there. That is
That's Tom.
Nottingham, isn't it?
Is it
No,
Nottingham?
that wasn't Tom, but that was Nottingham. That was
Dice Cup.
Dice Cup, yeah, Dice Cup.
So we got in touch with a load of different board game cafes, and again, this is where we work well together because we sort of split that work. And Kelsey was like, right, I'm going to contact the Dice Cup. You contacted the Treehouse, didn't you? I dealt with board game bash people and UKGE. I got us the playtesting slot. You got us other things.
Yeah,
So,
most of our stuff was kept quite local because we did generally wing it. We didn't we sort of just stepped into it and then we just
went for it.
We kind of made it up as we were going along with regards to how do we actually do a Kickstarter and all this, that and the other. And who the hell do we get in touch with to actually make a board game? We actually, thankfully, it was Nikki who made.
Nikki helped us, yeah. Nikki
Immortal.
Lloyd.
Was it Mortal?
Yeah, Immortality.
No, Immortality, which was a Kickstarter, and we got the production.
He gave us the contact.
Yeah, the contact from that, because we cancelled our first Kickstarter, didn't we?
Yeah, because we realised very quickly it was not going to work. We were asking for far too much money. It was going to be dead in the water.
Didn't we go down from about, how much was the first one?
I think it was $5,000.
It was about
the first
£5,000,
one.
wasn't it?
We knew it was
And
a lot.
We brought it down to 1.5.
Yeah,
two.
Through Nikki's contact, which was extremely helpful.
So we sort of split all that up.
And again, because we lived together, that decision didn't have to be delayed because we didn't have to contact each other or arrange to meet up to discuss it. We were there when we both got the message at the same time off Nikki, and we were like, yes, let's go. And when we called Dice Sports, we could be on the phone together, couldn't we? We put it on speakerphone so we could be present.
So it wasn't like a back and
we
forth.
could make a decision
delay.
there and then.
I mean, looking at it seems your first thing was 4,300 was the goal. And then the second thing, you brought it down to just under 2,000. Yeah. And you squeaked over, so it was 1,995 was your goal. And you did 2,088. Did you fund in the last half hour kind of situation?
We actually got we went down to the Ludicrous in London because we contacted them to do a playtest down there.
Lovely cafe in Croydon with Nick Smith.
Really nice place. Really
and but what's the other owner? Nick's wife.
We didn't actually meet her, did we?
We didn't meet her. We met Nick, and they put in a retail pledge actually.
So the retail pledge helped.
We had it at a late time, but
and the other thing that helped, which again was Kelsey's idea, was commissions.
Yeah.
So I did people's actual bunnies as cards.
And we did a custom card, yeah.
And we got that really nice video, didn't we, of that dude in America?
Yeah, we did. The bunny had passed away a few years ago.
And it was a card for his daughter, and he didn't tell her that this is what he'd done, and then he sent us an unboxing video, and she was going, "It's my bunny." Oh,
it was nice. It was nice. I mean, yeah, we just squeaked over it. I mean, most of our project was pretty much only known in Birmingham with the board game bash, and then we still had a few pledges from sort of America and
Germany.
China.
I think we had one from Australia, yeah.
Yeah, but neither was. I haven't got a clue when it comes to marketing. It was just it started off as being, let's see if anyone will get it. That would be great.
There's a ludicrous.
Yeah.
And that's the two owners, Nick Smith on the left, Carrie and Jane Smith on the right.
We can meet her.
And we also, when the first Kickstarter wasn't going so well, a friend of ours got in touch. She runs a group called Game Tea, and she's done, not board games, but she's done a lot of Kickstarters. And she was like, actually, when you launched it at the wrong time.
Yeah, do this, that, and the other.
No, she was like, do it at this time because you'll actually hit the American market. And we did get a few from America, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, if we'd have spent longer doing it, we'd have probably gone to more board game cafes and we'd put stuff up there and got around more.
The thing though is, the more time you spend doing it, it feels like
bags.
what do you want to do with this? Like, do you want to turn it into a business? And that's something I wanted to ask you. Like, what were your goals when you were going in? Were you trying to make it profitable? Was there any expectation?
We just wanted to see how far we could take it.
Yeah, it was a hobby, wasn't it? It was a hobby.
We were inspired by yourself, and we spent a night saying, "Can we do this? Is this something we want to do?"
Yeah.
And I think the key thing for us was when it stops being fun, we don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, let's see how far we get with this. Let's see, if we do get to a Kickstarter stage, great. If we don't, we made a game for ourselves. And then I think it was once it got to actually we put money in this. We've put quite a bit of our own money into this now for the Kickstarter. So I would actually now like this to succeed. It doesn't matter how many. If we only do the one run,
we're happy with that.
And it was like 200 copies or
something like that. Yeah.
If we only do the one run, fine. We made a card game. And we sold it, and people have our card game, and we've had some really nice messages. And we still get messages from time to time. I mean, it was a really small Kickstarter in the grand scheme of board game Kickstarters. And there's loads of those, but we still get messages from time to time of like, oh, we had a great game, or what was this rule? We played it like this. Was this right? Or somebody could really screw me over with this rule. Is that how it's meant to be? And we're like, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, that is how we designed it.
Yeah, it's a very vicious game. I mean, do you think that reflects Bunnies? Like, are Bunnies, do they look cute, but are they actually secretly incredibly vicious creatures?
I mean, if you speak to our cables, they will say yes. If you speak to our cables and doors, they will tell you that they are horrible. But, they're mainly cute.
They are, but when bunnies don't get on with each other, they can be very vicious.
And we do like a take-back game, so, yeah.
And I think that stems from us as a couple rather than, say, the general public, because we like a good game where we can go for the jugular on each other because it's funny. Even if we're not going to win, we will screw each other just because it'll get a giggle.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But whereas the latest prototype we were working on, we were like, let's step away from the take that mechanism and let's look at something else.
Yes, it'd be too easy to basically get stuck into making the same game again.
Yeah.
But we'll see if, at the minute, that's just completely on.
Yeah, that's on hold for COVID.
And again, it's just another hobby project. If it gets to the point at which we do anything further with it, great. If it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I think that's such a valuable thing because it's like you asked me earlier on and I've said this a couple of times before to regular viewers, so sorry about this, but you asked me if I am a full-time designer at this point, and it's like weird because 90% of my income is from Yogi Guru I designed in 2018, I want to say, because I did go back to the drawing board. I kind of made a bunch of changes, but that's been profitable for me, and I'm incredibly blessed that it's selling well across the world, and Jigamick's done a great job with it. But all my self-published stuff after In a Bind, I would have been financially better off if I hadn't done it. And around the start of this year, I decided, okay, this is going to be a hobby thing, but I am right now. It's kind of making a wee bit of a loss where I'm taking money from doing some consultation for some people and doing other work for other people, and some profits and stuff, and then putting that into I'm going to pay some of that money to Chris to kind of help me do this stuff that maybe I would rather not do. Like, Chris is starting to get the LDEC Twitter working. So if you go there, it's ELL_DECK. And now there's a whole, every Friday there's a, hey, what bands can you think of using one of these two letters? And, oh, what plants can you think of using one of these two letters? And what I've discovered is that people's general knowledge is a lot better than mine, certainly. I mean, with the IRL, I think that we could think of, Lily, we can't think of anything. And we thought about it for quite a while, for 5-10 minutes, and then put it up, and instantly 4 or 5 people have got 5 comments each saying, oh, leek, does that count? Oh yeah, actually I guess it would. Yeah, of course it would. And then, you know, but they have all these plants that I've never heard of before because I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so the point is that yes, it's kind of. I would like that to be where I'm not putting too much money into it, so it's kind of paying for itself at least.
Yeah.
And honestly, with my self-published things, I feel like that's my aspiration for that, for it to pay for itself, so that yeah, Kitty Cataclysm, DL deck, plus whatever, I can be like, okay, here's a thing where it's paying for itself and still it's a fun process.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. That's what I want it to be, like a form of self-expression. And then people sometimes submit games for the L deck, and it's like, okay, we have a fun time of deciding which one of these games is the best. And there's been some brilliant games. That one of them I played, just on Wednesday, and a couple of times, and like one of them's, some of them are super simple and childish, and one of them's like super meaty, and it's crazy to see what people are coming up with, and that's like such a lovely thing. But it doesn't need to be about making money for that, you know what I mean? And whilst it's a bit weird because designing those games is incredibly similar to what I've started doing for money, where I'm working on some light casual games for people in terms of consultation. I have been given a contract by a larger company, which I was really excited to join them for. Hey, and it's like, and so if your hobby gives you the skills for your work, then even better. But I think it's still important to say, okay, this is my hobby, and okay, yes, I am going to be working on this quick. I don't want to go into the exact mechanisms because, look, there's not a strong chance, of okay, this kind of game might be a thing that will reach like the scale of Yogi or whatever. I need to kind of get more things out there that are kind of okay, just in case that stops selling. How do I know?
Yeah.
But it's like all about why are you doing this? And I think that that's a key thing when you are designing with a co-creator. When it's a collaborator, you want to make sure that those aims are exactly the same. Let's say, what are we trying to do? Are we looking for financial rewards? Are we looking to make this just a hobby? If there is a financial reward, what kind of splits would make sure that neither of us are unhappy and fall out with each other? And if we are doing this, if one person wants to make money, the other person just wants to get something out in the world, then there's going to be a schism between you, and that's not great. And so I think that you need to establish this communication. And maybe as we get onto the second section, again, I'm going to have to speed this up towards the end. But as we get into the pros of why is it good to design with your partner, that seems to be the first thing to me, that you already had this understanding of these are the roles that we fall into, that these are our aims.
And equally, like you were saying earlier, other people have a partner, but it's not a romantic partner. If those goals don't align anymore, how do you end that partnership if it's not working? Do you lose a friend? Are you contractually obliged? Whereas for us, because it's something we want to do because it's fun, if it's not fun, we're like, okay, we'll just stop.
Yeah, I think the only thing really, when it came to actually when we launched, the only thing then was the point at which, like, well, I don't want to lose money doing this.
Yeah.
If we break even,
we're happy.
Well, it doesn't matter about
we
making
haven't lost
the money,
so we're quite happy with that.
Yeah, so
we haven't really made money, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to just have some fun doing it, and hey, we've got a game.
I mean, pretty much most of the stuff that you just mentioned there, Bez, was I do wedding photography on the side as well, and that's a hobby of mine. Not that it's happening at the moment, but the thing there was I just want it to get to the point where it can sustain itself, and if I earn extra money from it, great, but as long as I don't have to pay for it. But yeah, same as this year, I'm obviously, there's no weddings happening, so I'm now paying for that.
You, isn't it?
So that's now turned into something that's now costing me, which I don't think we ever wanted the Kickstarter to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to ever be a drain or a burden to us. And I think that's kind of where we were going with the second one that we started. Like at one point, it wasn't fun. It was quite frustrating. It wasn't as clear as Warren was what we wanted to actually do with this game. And we were like, let's just take a
And
break.
hello there, Scott.
Hello,
From
Scott!
Birmingham Board Game Bash, someone who was instrumental to us meeting each
Absolutely,
other and then
Scott.
testing
Scott
our thing.
was so helpful to us.
Especially to our rules.
Yes.
And us almost falling into the trap of being like, oh, we'll create a rule for that, or we'll create a rule for this.
Yeah, I think it was either Scott or Rich. One of them said, "Don't make rules for the sake of explaining other rules. If it's not clear, can you cut it out?"
Yeah.
And that was
probably
advice. That was the best advice anyone gave us.
Key turning point right at the end of our game, actually. Yeah, and we were just like, actually,
we can axe a lot of these rules.
We had 2 decks.
Yeah, we did.
We had these 2 draw decks, and you could do this. And when you drew from this, you drew from that, and it was just a pain. And then it was just like, well, don't add rules. And then we're like, do you actually need that deck?
And we were like,
you know what? We've not actually thought about that.
Let's take it out. Let's see how it works.
Get rid of it completely.
Make the game so much better.
Shuffle it in, and
But again, that was another going back to the pros and to answer the question. That was a decision that we could make there and then because we were together.
I just like,
without consulting
let's just do it. And then we just like drew over all the cards, and we're just like, this sounds like a great idea, and it worked.
And Scott, for future reference, you are totally allowed to eat whilst watching this show.
You munching, Scott, don't worry.
In all seriousness, you touched upon some of those potential pitfalls where you said, if you had an argument, if you had a disagreement, let's say you hadn't communicated clearly, and then that could be even higher stakes for yourselves as a couple than a friend. It might be like, okay, what if, let's say Kelsey was like, okay, I'm enjoying this, I want to keep going, and then like Emily, let's say you're thinking, oh, I'm not enjoying this anymore, I don't want to do this.
I think we had a moment like that, didn't we, with the newer one, and we got quite frustrated, and then like you were saying, that then turned to a bit of frustration with each other, and we said, this isn't worth it, let's move back a bit. We didn't argue, but we were getting a bit
it was just sort of like we there was a point there where we're sort of like, we know where the fun is, but we just can't put my finger on it right at this time, so and we need to take a break. Because we went in quite heavy on it, and it was completely different. But so it wasn't a card game. It was actually going to be a board game, and it was massively different to what Warren Wars was. And it got to the point where we did take a step back, and then stepped away for it probably about a month.
Yeah,
and then we sort of had some ideas, came back to it, and sort of rewrote
the whole thing.
The game with the general idea, and it started being
better,
a bit more fun, but it still
wasn't
there.
Very early days.
I mean, it's literally like drawing on a piece of stuck together paper and with paper cards and stuff. So
and bits
because this is an emotionally heightened time. I mean, making something creative, putting this piece of work out into the world. And so it feels like that's going to potentially increase frustration with each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you've got to be incredibly careful. And so I think it's really good that it sounds like you were on point with that. Oh, wait a minute. This is tearing us apart. Let's just take a step back.
We've also had messages about Warren Wars during this time as well. And Kelsey actually made the decision. He said, do you know what? We're not doing anything with Warren Wars during this time. It's going to be too much. Like we said just before the stream started, we're both key workers, so we've been working all throughout this time. And it's like, we need to concentrate on our actual jobs. That was a really wise decision.
Yeah, the plan was to have gone to UKGE by now and basically sold out a Warren
2020.
Wars. Yeah, and that would have been it, and that was Warren Wars done, and we sold all our copies, and then so we don't even, with everything else going on, have we taken down the website now?
Yeah, again, because going back to our point before, it's now becoming a cost. The website is costing us, and we're not actually doing anything with Warren Wars, so why have the website up? Let's take it down.
So we're just going to save it, wait till next year, and just actually have just basically do all our sales in person for the last
push
batch of it, and then that'll be, you know,
more and more's done.
more and more's done. Yeah, so they're all nice and safe until
Next
we
year.
get to go to UKGE in person again.
And again, going back to pitfalls and problems, obviously because we're a romantic couple, we've got 50 boxes of Warren Wars in the garage.
Yeah. So
But it's not really getting in the way, is it? It's just up the corner.
No.
Fortunately, Warren Wars is a very small box. I know Nicky, when he released Immortality, he got quite a few boxes in his house.
A lot.
His box is quite substantially bigger than our house.
I think with us as well, though, if it's going back to the point at which, like, if we're not liking the game anymore, it generally tends to be if we're not both enjoying it, then
That's the line.
we don't really.
That's our line in the
like.
sand.
If Emily's not enjoying the game, then I'm not going to enjoy it because there's no.
We enjoy
fun in-
more
there's no fun in
when
playing
we're
a game
enjoying it together.
when nobody else is liking it.
Like films, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
there's been loads of times when we put a film on and one of us isn't feeling it. We're like, okay, I'm enjoying it, but we're going to turn it off because
Yeah.
you're not enjoying it.
Or-
You're not getting the same experience that I am.
Yeah.
And that's part of our relationship.
I love that. You know, I used to be someone who once I've started something, I've got to read until the end. I've got to watch it until the end. If it's a TV show, I've got to watch it until the end, even if I'm not enjoying it. And I've managed to get myself away from that a little bit. Oh, man. Everyone's...
Aww.
And then, so, yeah, the last, it was when I was doing Innerbind Junior. So that was 2015. Yeah, end of 2015. I was seeing this person. We had this amazing, intense relationship. Unfortunately, we kind of separated. Oh, Jess.
Yes, Jess.
But yeah. Anyway, so this person, for one of our dates, I was over at their place. They put on this film, and then, yeah, I don't know. They put it on. I was like, I wouldn't have said anything, and I would have probably been interested to watch it until the end. But then they said, "Hey, you don't look like you're enjoying this," and I said, "You know what? Maybe I'm just actually, I don't know, like I'm up for watching it, but yeah, maybe I would actually prefer to just sit and talk or do something because we've not actually, yeah, we've chatted a lot the past week, but you know, we've not had time just the two of us because we chatted more when it was in the place that I was living, where other people were coming and going, or in the park where there were other people, and this was kind of a bit more intimate, and like I would have liked that kind of. And so yeah, we ended up having a wonderful evening where there was kind of canoodling and you know, heavy petting and stuff. It was a lovely evening, and like it was just someone to say, hey, actually I can see that you're not super into this,
Yeah.
so why are we doing this? And I think that was
So we have a way around this. Best after dark. Our way around this, or at least with films, is we have a list, and what we do is it's a big curated list.
As well.
Yeah, and series is we have a big list of things, and say there's probably about 30 films on there at the moment that we've both added, and things that we, you know, either we just want to watch, and the other, you know, you might not like it, or I might like one of your films, and then we put it into a random generator, and on those days where we're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. It's like, right, list. Get the list. Put it in a generator, press the button, whatever comes up, no questions asked.
That's what's going on.
That's what's going on.
But the rule is, if you're really not feeling it, after about 20 minutes, you abandon it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So you have a chance to veto.
Because there's a lot of things that I would never have watched that Kelsey really enjoys, like Sin City. I would not have looked at that. And he put it on, and I was like, why was I so against this? I'm really enjoying this.
And you've shown me loads of stuff, and that I just would have gone in and I'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to feel that. It's like, you know what? You know, it's on the list. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, and you've really enjoyed it. Like you watched
really
Iron Giant for the first time the other day, didn't you? And like before that, you were like, "Oh, I'm not very sure about this kids' film," and put it on, and you were like, "Oh,
It's
Superman!"
really good. Yeah.
I know that Chris and Nicole, I don't think they mind me sharing this. They have a similar thing with their housemates, and then they've got like little bits of paper in a jar, and then they've started off putting like 5 bits in. And Sate says that they used to have a deal with their partner. If one of us picked a film the other didn't want to see, we massaged them throughout the film as incentive. And so Sate's got to lots of massages because their partner lots of them.
That's a great idea.
Jess says, by the way, they like your accent very much. And where are you from?
That's a Brummy accent off my mom.
It's
I'm
not
not actually from Birmingham, but I've got a Birmingham twang off my mother.
This is harsh.
Kelsey's accent though. You're a Stokey Scot.
This is so harsh. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Heavy Scotsman, and my mum's a heavy
Stokey.
So between the two, I can't hear either of their accents, but Emily can.
The first time I met Kelsey's dad, I could barely understand him because he's very thick Scottish accent.
So I can't hear it at all. So apparently he's got a very.
And every now and then, Kelsey's horrendous for accents. If he hears you doing an accent, he will start to copy you after a bit.
I don't mean to do it though.
And he stores it. The thing is, once he's learnt an accent, no, it's not a posh accent. It will come out at random times. So he will every now and then he'll randomly have a German accent. He'll randomly have a Russian accent. You do Scottish quite a bit.
Yeah, apparently.
And we were on holiday with some Australians once, and like I was
that
like,
wasn't just
Kelsey,
me though.
Please don't copy the Australians. And I ended up doing it as well because he was doing it.
But only the other Brits that were on holiday with us could hear it. The Australians were like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're just normal to them.
I'm just weird.
Okay, you've talked about being ready to abandon things. Oh, I don't know if you're seeing if you've got the comments open, but Jess mum's family is from Leek, which I didn't even realise that Leek was a place.
Where am I? Leek.
Is it north?
Leek.
Our geography's rubbish.
And we're talking like really tiny, UK towns like Saddlesworth and stuff like that. This is
I think it's often Leek. I think that's where I know Leek from.
Leek was what we had on there Wednesday night.
It wasn't Spring Onion.
It's near Stoke apparently.
Oh, that kind of Leek. Oh no, don't.
Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
Leek's near Stoke.
Oh no, I know it's not near Saddlesworth. I'm just saying that they're both very small places. That's what I'm saying. You're all about the small places, Jess. Don't go there. That's pretty harsh. Wow, we've got the biting truth. Apparently, don't go where? Don't go to Saddleworth or don't go to Leek.
Jess's TripAdvisor.
Anyway, so tell us which one to not go to. But you've already given us the tip of being ready to abandon things. Like 20 minutes into a film, just give it up. If you start working on a game together, it's a hobby. If you don't enjoy it after a few days, just give it up. Yeah. And what other tips can you give us?
Well, I would say it's not necessarily about giving it up. It's give it time to come back to it.
Yeah,
because you'll find yourself with different ideas.
Learn when to take a break from it so that it doesn't impact on your relationship.
That's the big one. Yeah, it's learn to take a break.
And how to communicate with each other as well, because like sometimes you give me comments when I've been drawing, like, can you make the black more black? Which is like,
well, maybe not quite black more black.
No, that was your exact term. But also like, think about how you phrase things to the other person because they are your romantic partner at the end of the day.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like same with so I do like box designs and I quite like it, even though it wasn't quite there, but you'd be like, no, I don't like that. And you're always going to take it personally, and it's so hard to get used to take constructive criticism.
We try to do it like we don't just say I don't like it. We'll try and be constructive and say I don't like it because this feels weird to me.
Because I think
we try to be nice to each other.
I think a few of the generals were like
the
generals
really overpowered, wasn't
doing really well. It was more so the art, and it was like we need to add something to it. but it wasn't a case of we need to edit the way the generals were. But I don't think I probably quite phrased it that way. And we ended up having like the circular background we do for it. And that's what it was, is it needed something. And I sort of like
Just
played around with that. And then I guarantee that you were worried that I was going to edit your art.
Yeah, I was concerned.
I wasn't going to do.
Out.
No. I think the only thing I ever did was I added a bit more to the Hutch Cassidy, but I just copied some of your stuff.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
This is just our webcam persona.
This is just normal for us.
Cheers.
I mean, you're like bunnies. You are really vicious, actually.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, when we were playing Bez's game, actually, absolute.
Oh yeah, when we play Kitty Cataclysm, there's no prisoners there.
There's not.
I think that was why Kitty Cataclysm appealed to us.
It was a take that game again, wasn't it? Kind of. Yeah.
It brought out our vicious side to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
tips. How can we do it well?
How can we do it well?
So yeah, taking a break, prioritizing the people over the game. You talked about having that good communication, and I think the rapport that you've already got as a couple kind of moves into that. And maybe that's something that even if you're not a romantic couple, like if you are going to go and co-design a game with someone, what I'm really feeling is that you want to make sure that you've got a good rapport with them anyway.
Absolutely, definitely. And again, like you were just saying about rapport, it's about the person behind the game as well as the game itself. Like Bez, your games, we were so drawn to them because we found you as an individual so intriguing and so interesting, and you're so intelligent, and we're like, oh, who is this person? Want to know more about them. And hopefully that if you just decided to do that with a partner to design board games, you'd want that to come across in the other person as well, so that one person's not dominating it and the other person's sort of like in the background.
Yeah, I think what originally started off with yours was my sort of like, I can switch that, like what I want to do in blooming seconds. My mind's all over the place, and when we play sessions,
you're easily distracted.
It was sort of like, oh, let's do this, let's try this, let's do this. I've got another game here. Let's try this one. Let's do this. Oh, let's switch some rules about this. And I was just
so that really appealed to you, didn't it?
Yeah, I love having loads of things on the go at once. And I had another point to make there as well, but I've forgotten what it was now. See, it's gone already because I've thought of something else.
And then this is where we work as a couple, because I remember absolutely everything.
You do, because you've got photographic memory, which is an absolute pain. That's gone. How can we do it well? I was going.
I can only remember it if you've said it out loud in the first place.
Just going on something there.
Wait.
What were we talking about? Whatever. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me.
It won't.
Let's, because we're getting to the very end, let's kind of try to answer those questions that we started off with.
Yeah. Is
it always better to have a collaborator, do you think?
It depends what you're trying to do. Like you said earlier, what's the aim of it? Is it something to enhance your relationship? Is it something you can do together as a hobby, or are you actually trying to make serious money?
I also don't necessarily everyone will work
together
really well with a collaborator. Sometimes you just really want to be, for lack of a better word, like your own auteur. But I remembered what my other point was now. And yeah, not everyone's going to work that way. It's just not going to work for everyone. But I think if you do want to work with someone, you need to go into it knowing that you are going to have to make compromises, and not every idea that you put forward is going to be a good idea. You might think it's a good idea, but the other person might also give you 10 reasons why it's not going to be a good idea.
And it's all depends on the people that you collaborate with. And so it's about you and the relationship with those people. And maybe it works out brilliantly for you, but it might not work well for another romantic couple. And that's okay.
Absolutely. Cause we know a lot of people, don't we, whose relationship is obviously not the same as ours. They are still a lovely couple, but you couldn't imagine them working on something together, because they would argue, they would fight, because they're coming at it from different angles.
Yeah.
And they have different wants and needs in their relationship to us. So I think it very much depends where you are as a romantic couple as to whether it works or not.
And the next question was about the differences. Do you think that if your co-designer is your romantic partner, how does that change the nature of those disagreements? And are you more likely to agree? Or, does it just depend? Is it unique to every partnership?
I would
I
say
think
so.
so, yeah.
So to go back to the point is...
And I think it would depend on what the thing is that's coming up as the question. So like for us, because we're on a very similar wavelength, if it's not feeling right to one of us, it probably doesn't feel right to the other person as well.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was somebody else, maybe they wouldn't have that sense, or maybe it might be quite upsetting. They might feel like an attack on them if one of the partners is saying, "I don't like this."
That's one of the big things. Yeah, don't let it feel like that. I think one of the things with us though is we don't argue, but if one of us gets to the point where we're like really annoyed at someone, or we both know we're just having a bad time, it's just okay. We're just gonna
we break out the tea and the biscuits,
have a cuppa,
and we
we're
put
just
a
not
film
gonna,
on.
We're just gonna just not talk about it.
And we let each other stew. Like we know they're cross. We're gonna just let them have their moment. We're not going to try and bring them out of it and try and make them more jolly and happy if they're not feeling it. We're just gonna let them sort, because that's what they want to do.
Let's just have our moment.
Let's have a strop. Let's have a wobbly, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Just for those who maybe missed a wee bit of the start, how many years have you been together, and how many years have you had Bunnies?
You were going to say 8.
I was going to say 7.
8. 8 years
now.
we've been together. How many years have we had the Bunnies? We've had the Bunnies for 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, just 2.
We got him in August.
Was it August? Was it?
Yeah,
I thought it was June. Okay. Yeah.
We were June. Look at them.
Do you think that this could be a good bonding exercise?
Absolutely.
It is quite like a team building exercise, because you have to compromise. There's no real way around it. You have to work together.
And your communication, again, going back to communication, you have to think, I can't actually say, let it come out of my head exactly as I'm thinking it, because it's going to hurt the other person's feelings. I'm going to have to think about how I can phrase this nicely and constructively, so it's not an attack on them.
And also because you struggle to view things like,
if it's
if I try to explain something and you just can't visualize, it's like, right, okay, give me 15 minutes, let me put together a quick mock, and this is the kind of thing that I'm going for, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, I see where you come from. Okay, well, maybe you can change this to that. Now I can see it.
Playing to your strengths. Playing to your strengths. And equally, not asking the other person to do something that they're not so good at. So, I wouldn't ask Kelsey to go draw the cards.
Don't ask me to go draw.
Because you'll end up with stick rabbits.
I can sculpt one, but that's about it.
And equally, don't ask me to do the card layout, because I will crash Photoshop. I'll probably stick it all on the one layer and delete the one layer.
That was the bit that took the most iteration for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And equally, don't know when each other's stressed as well. So when Kelsey was having a really bad day sometimes with the cards and they weren't playing and he was struggling with the layout, don't come and ask him something that's going to wind him up even more. Wait until he chilled and then say, can we talk about this?
Yeah. Do we need to change this?
Find your moment.
Yeah, I think this is lovely. What's coming across really clearly, and we had other comments that Jess knows another couple.
8, not the one in front.
No, not the one.
Yeah, but the point is that what Jess is saying is that not every couple has the love and doesn't have the fights. And, 18 years, what's the difference? I mean, there's a bit of difference.
In a good way.
Thank you.
It's like, you kind of, once you've been together, my longest relationship for, I don't know why I'm sharing this, but...
Go for it.
Yeah, so my longest relationship was, I think, marginally under a year. So it was maybe 11 months and a half or something. We kind of agreed by mutual prior consent that it wasn't really working. So while I know that sounds really weird, but while I was away in Christmas, we kind of chatted on the phone, and then, we were like, given what you've just told me, do you actually want to be together? And then we established, there wasn't quite the love, that there was 6 months beforehand. And so it's like, at that point, why stay together? And then we're like, yeah, we still really like each other, but there's not, so we don't want to say, okay, that's it, we're splitting up over the phone whilst, but okay, let's have this date as our kind of last date on 15th of January, and we'll kind of split up. And so that's something that we decided. And then I felt like sort of after a few months, it kind of gets into that, okay, now you start to know the real person. And imagine that if you are together for decades and decades, I'm sure that my mum and dad are still learning about each other, and still and people continue to evolve. So it's not just you learn how that person is as a static thing, like learning to appreciate a painting. It's about learning to appreciate the person that they're growing into as well. And are you growing in the same direction kind of thing? And that's going to become more and more after you pass like that 2, 3, 4 year mark, because you are presumably quite different people to who you were 8 years ago when you met.
Yeah. You learn each other's hobbies as well.
Yeah, and equally you learn things that you can grow together that you wouldn't have achieved alone. Like we got a house, didn't we? That's a big one.
Stressful.
Yeah, it was very stressful.
Yeah, like we did when we got together. We weren't into board games either, and now we've made a card game.
Yeah,
that sort of just came about, didn't it?
And like cosplay as well. Like we were really, really into cosplay when we first got together. We did it for years and years and years together, and now we've sort of said
that's gone into board games.
We enjoy it, but we don't really want to do it anymore. It's sort of lost going back to the fun element. Let's draw a line under it, so we've got the nice memories before it becomes a tree. Yeah,
we might go. I mean, we might go back to it. We might not.
I think for me, if we went back, it would be something easy.
A bit more casual.
Yeah, I'm not busting out the suits of armour again.
I mean, I'd like to 3D print some stuff, but I just haven't had the drive to do it. Anyway, I'm not like there's any conventions going at the moment.
No.
So. Yeah, just...
Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
We did say if we did Thunderbird cosplay, we'd have, like the sandwich...
the soapbox car.
Yeah, with like a Thunderbird one round us, prattling around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you do some violence.
And again, a big part of our relationship is having fun and being silly and enjoying each other for who the other person is and what Kelsey brings to my life and how can he bring out the best in me.
I generally don't do serious. So
no, you don't.
I don't do serious. I try not to get stressed.
What's the next plan for our relationship?
Hopefully go on holiday next year.
Yeah.
It'd be great to go on a holiday because
we're supposed to go to Disney this year and
we were meant to go back
happened.
this year and revisit where we got engaged and stuff. And then, COVID happened. So we'll see. Yeah. Either that or we
finish the garden.
We go to Singapore and we go to see pangolins.
Oh yes, Kelsey wants to take me to see. I love pangolins. I've become involved in pangolin conservation and support and that, so I really, really want to go see a pangolin, and Kelsey's quite happy to help me go to Singapore to see pangolins.
Yeah. It's a long way to go.
It is.
It is a lovely, lovely thing that you've got going on, and I hope your relationship carries on for many, wonderful years. And I think it's about time to start saying, okay, let's recap and wrap up
before the end.
So we talked about rabbits, we talked about boinging, which is known as binking, and we talked about Hades, about Betrayal at House on the Hill, about Someone Has Died, this interesting game. We talked about mellowdice.org, we talked about me going outside and enjoying the world and having lovely phone calls with people, about filling different roles, about knowing each other, that someone's more about logistics, someone's more about art, someone's more about the big concept, someone's more about the details, about how you had a really fast progress, about what your intentions were. That was just like a hobby. And we never really I want to ask, as we wrap up, actually, what we're looking forward to, in this board game development world, what we might see from you. About, the fact that you printed these 200 copies and getting it out there, and there's hundreds of people now kind of playing your game, and that's like super awesome. And
I mean, there is hundreds of people that have got.
There's at least 150 playing our game.
Yeah, there is at least 150 people that have it.
we talked about like how you love take that games. Like rabbits, you're a little bit vicious, but you know each other, and that's okay. And you've got this rapport, and you've already communicated, you're already comfortable, you're always physically present, which is a nice thing, because it means that if you've got, hey, here's an idea that I have, you can just
do it.
No, like maybe not in the middle of the night if you wake up, because presumably the other one's.
We did.
That happened. Yeah,
with Warren Wars, we
What, you would wake each other up?
Yes.
You woke me up with puns before, and I think I've written some down in the night. Written.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I told you it was all based on puns to begin with, so yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't imagining all this kind of waking each other up in the middle of the night. That's like a step beyond what I was expecting, to be honest.
I mean, it wasn't like late at night.
It was like, we're going to sleep. I'm just about to go to sleep, and you're like,
I've got an idea.
Mary Hoppins.
Okay, so it wasn't proper waking each other up.
It was still waking each other up when
not
it
like
was
4
just
o'clock in the morning,
no,
but
no.
yeah, like just
Yeah. But you are still physically always together, and even in those, just going to bed. Oh my god, yeah, which is a lovely thing. The negatives, if you had an argument, there's higher stakes, but you get into those tips that you need to be ready to. You don't like the word abandon, but to take a break from something, or even if you have to, like maybe you had to abandon it, and the people are always need to be prioritized over the games.
Absolutely.
It's all about the communication, which you've already established. It's all contextual. Do what works for you. Yes, it's all about the love, and it does strengthen the love you said. And you said, Kelsey, like it's like team building because you've got to make compromises. And is there anything that I missed in the recap?
I think that's about it.
I think so. The only other thing that I remembered that I forgot earlier was during the tips was if our game was quite a casual game, so we would play test sometimes, and they were people that were more into, say, a lot more complex or war games or things like that, and we'd get feedback from that was maybe either a lot more critical or completely not alongside the kind of game we wanted to make. And don't take that personally, because they're not going to buy your game. Like, that's not your target audience. So it's really good to get.
But equally, again, that's a pro with having someone else, because if you were on your own, that could feel a lot more personal. Whereas actually, because it's a joint thing, I could say to Kelsey, "Oh, so and so said this. It was a bit hurtful. They were trying to be constructive. Is this where we want to go?" And Kelsey's like, "No, because it'll jazz the whole game up and it'll make it into something completely different."
Or it's just
second
it's
opinion.
not our target market. So we I mean, most of the changes that we made and things like that came from people that were more into like casual games and things. But the benefit of also getting people that are more into complex games was the times when it was like, oh no,
they actually gave us the real hard advice.
You need to change your rules to do this, that, or the other, or maybe like, I've seen this mechanic in sort of much more complex game, but
can you reduce it down?
So yeah.
And there's it sounds like you were really good at taking on that advice, and I want to say thank you to everyone. Obviously you've already given a lot of thanks to Scott and Rich and all the people that helped you along the way. I want to give thanks to everyone who's around here, to my best moderator out there, Xate, to Jess, it was lovely to see you, and Jay Foolsguard and Scott, thank you for joining us. And there were thank you for joining in the chat, everyone, and asking so many lovely questions. And yeah, most importantly, thank you to Emily and Kelsey.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you for inviting us. And for being our friend all this time.
Oh.
Yeah, and for actually inspiring us to make a game in the first place.
Absolutely.
And well, thank you, Alan, for being in the sidelines, I guess. Because apparently I have to thank Alan randomly. if you want to find Emily or Kelsey, could you quickly go over your things? And I do want to say to everyone, we're not only going to have 5 minutes left, but it is. To everyone in the comments, over to you. What are you up to? Share us something, only if you want to. Anything you want to share, something you're looking forward to, hopes or ambitions. Share anything, whether it's something exciting or trivial, important or just fun. And yeah, so tell me about your links or where you like to be found. Emily, Kelsey.
That's us. Sorry, I think I'm in the chat. Yeah, we are. Well, Warren Wars is
on hold at the moment.
Yeah, it's on hold at the minute with COVID. We are on.
We've got a Facebook page.
We do respond to comments on our Facebook page.
But yeah,
it will be on sale at UKGE again
next year, hopefully.
But if you want to get a copy, just message us on Facebook, and we'll just sort out a custom payment option for that, just through PayPal. Yeah, because we have sold a few copies this year through just people being asking where they can get it at the moment, because we haven't got an online store for it, because we've only got 50 copies left.
Oh, the Bunnies! Yes, follow my baby.
Follow us on Instagram. Yeah, there's only 50 copies of it left, and because we've got a stall at UKGE, we were saving as much stock as we can, because that's already been paid for, and we've got the stock then for actually in-person sales then. Yeah.
If you want to follow me, I am stuffmybeds.com, stuffmybeds.com, where you can buy some of my stuff. It's basically print and plays, because LDEC and Kitty Cataclysm sold out. Twitter.com/stuffbeds for most of the information. Instagram.com/stuffbeds for pictures occasionally. I'm trying to get that up to daily. Twitch.tv/stuffmybeds, and that's for daily streams. Facebook.com/thingsbybeds is a thing, and stuffbeds@gmail.com if you wish to email me. So Scott says that they are signing a copy of their game. Congratulations. And then they are posting it out to France. Congratulations on that new game. Working on my QTLS for teaching and grading and being lazy. Congratulations, Jess. That sounds amazing. And what am I up to? I'm going to start tidying my room. I'm not going to finish today, but I am definitely going to start it. That's what I'm doing. Alex is taking a break from design for a bit, so Day will probably just make a roll in right today over lunch. Xate is making masks and then playing games. That sounds awesome. Nice. And so thank you everyone for sharing that. Feel free, if you're just lurking, to join in. Let us know what you're up to. Bez and Friends Game Day is Saturday the 17th of October. That's like, just join in from 10 till 11, 12, we'll be chatting, introducing everyone, everything. 12:30, I'll be introducing the first game, How Much Money, and then 1 p.m. onwards, we will be playing games together. It's kind of like everyone's in a big house party, but it's online and, just in the Discord. So keep the dates out. I will work out to redirect. That's something I will do today. If you want to find out my next streams, look at stuffbeds.com/streams, and I have an exciting week coming up. Tomorrow is all about respecting sensitive topics with Jen and Kat. Then Monday, I've got Shem Phillips talking about making new things. Tuesday, it's expressing joy with Emma. We're going to be expressing ourselves. Then my first ever thing. Anyway, check that out. And so feel free to share, spread the word. Please do so. Lots of love to everyone. Thank you so much again. I cannot express this enough, like how much it is such a delight to kind of have everyone chiming along, and you peeps, again, lots of love. For now, there's only one thing left to do. Are you ready for that?
We are.
Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Woo. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye.